be for the opener.
Yeah, absolutely it is, and it's awesome. I love coaching him. He is a rare competitor, so he'll be out on the field today with his teammates, along with Noah Brown and some others that are on the way back. So that's an important time, John, even though it's not technically game week, just to get some reps together. It's a big deal for us, and, yeah, we're really pumped about it.
Adam, obviously this is one of the bigger deals as the GM of this organization. What did you go through, you know these guys emotionally? What did you go through having to try to get this guy on this squad, keep him here, and not lose Terry McLaurin?
Yeah, I think it was a long time, obviously, from when we started the talks till when we got finished. But I think there's you get optimistic, pessimistic, all those different things throughout the process. But what we never lost was our love and respect and really admiration for Terry and what he does for us on and off the field. So keeping those things in perspective and trusting that we'll be able to get to do something.
When you get into those negotiations and those conversations, how do you balance how much you respect a guy like Terry and what he's done on the field versus the need to keep the financial house in order and kind of how you run the business side?
Yeah, I mean, it's a balance, right? Where you got to do what's best for the team, but also reward somebody for being a great player. And so, you set some parameters for what you think that is. But our team did an incredible job of trying to figure out what the right number was. And I think as long as you come and you're respectful throughout the process and you understand you're probably going to give in a little bit more, really both sides giving in a little bit more than you want, coming to a place where it's maybe slightly uncomfortable both sides, and you really just never lose respect or lose perspective of what this person means to our locker room, to our team, and to this community.
And then just going back a week to the Brian Robinson trade,
Yeah.
was there like a point over the summer where you thought, hey, we got a lot of guys here, we might have to look at something, and then did that accelerate at any moment as other players started to show out?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into something like that. One, there's interest around the league. There's the competition we have in that room, which we thought was a really good competition throughout. And so when you start breaking things down and you understand Brian's going to be a free agent after the year, and he's making a little bit more money than some of the other guys in that room, and just understanding like, okay, you're going to have to make a tough decision. And Brian's done a great job for this organization. He's been through a lot here, and to his credit, he was really going for it again. He had a great off season. He was in great shape, and it wasn't really anything overly. It was just all positive. It was just the fact that we felt really confident in the other guys in that room. So when we had the ability to get something for him, we decided to go ahead and do that.
Adam, you to go back to the Terry situation, obviously you've been in front offices, you've seen how the sausage gets made, but it's the first time with you in the role of GM. Did you kind of what was that like? Did you learn anything that was new about yourself, about this process as you went through it, especially since it was a little bit of a tense situation?
Yeah. Well, don't forget about Sam. We did the deal with Sam last year, so. But yeah, I mean, they're all different. I guess that's the point, is they're all different, right? And there's you're dealing with different people with just kind of different personalities and different goals of what they want to get done. So every deal is a little bit different, and some are longer than others, some are shorter than others, some you start with different perspectives than the other side, and you have to come to an agreement there. So I think every single thing we do here is a learning experience, from negotiation with Sam, negotiation with Terry, to the 53 cut downs this year versus last year. and you're always learning, you're always growing, and hopefully we'll keep getting better at that. And you never want, you certainly never want a negotiation to go this long, and certainly if you can avoid it, not to bring it into training camp. And sorry about that, but but we'll learn from that, and take the things that maybe I could have done better throughout the process, and try to apply that to the next time we do this. We're going to do a lot of these here, hopefully, and hopefully we keep getting better at them.
And in terms of the wide receiver room now, obviously Terry's back. Curious how long you think it'll take him to be ready, so to speak, be in football shape. But then Noah Brown, don't know quite his situation. You only have 5 guys in the room. What's your confidence level right now with that group going into week 1?
We're very confident in that group. And you mentioned those 2 guys who they are ramping up, and those are the things we'll find out here in the next 2 weeks. In terms of where they'll be at for the Giants and further down the line. But we only have 5 on the 53, but we have 3 guys that are on the practice squad that we have great confidence in too. And we really look at our team as 70 and not 53. So those guys are extensions of our team. So we have great confidence in those guys to bring them up if we need them. But in terms of where Terry and Noah will be week 1, we'll just find that out today, tomorrow, and a few days of practice next week, and we'll make the decision that's right, so we don't overextend them if they're not ready to go 80, 90 plays or however they can go.
Hey guys, over here. I'm Tom Shadd. I'm the new guy at the Post.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank
Tom.
you. I hate to ask another Terry question, but I will. And without getting too into the weeds on the negotiating process, was there a turning point, I guess, in the past couple of days? Was there anything that changed, or was it simply just a function of the season getting closer to the timing of it all?
Yeah, I think I don't know if there's a turning point. I think deadlines kind of prompt action a lot of times, and maybe that was it. Maybe that had something to do with it. But we just had a lot of really good positive conversations leading up to that as well. And at the same time, Terry was coming back and getting ready to play and getting healthier, and really finished his stint on PUP, and he was running really well and really ready to start practicing and playing. So I think all those things coming together help get this thing done.
Adam, thanks. All the money in this deal, as is true for most deals, is not guaranteed. You mentioned the idea of being committed to Terry for the long term. In your putting aside the numbers, wherever they might be, in your mind, what is the sort of long term commitment that you've made to Terry?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I've talked about this before, but an important thing to know is and realize is we wanted to do this. We set out. We wanted to do an extension with Terry, and that we didn't have to. He's going in the last year of his contract. He is 30, but we wanted to do that because we believe in him, and we believe in that he can play into his 30s based on what he's shown us, how durable he's been, how hard he works, how well he takes care of his body. So we signed, it's a 3-year extension, so he's under contract for 4 years, and I don't think anybody up here or in that locker room would be surprised if he plays all 4 of those.
And you mentioned the support you got from Josh Harris in a negotiation of this magnitude. What is his level of involvement? How did that support show up?
Yeah, he's sorry, go ahead. Besides the money, yeah. Yeah, we talk a lot.
Pretty important part.
Yeah, that's the most important. But we talk a lot, and he's got a lot of experience of doing deals like these, not necessarily in the NFL, but in the NBA mostly. And so it's cool that we get to talk through it, and the contracts here are so much different than in the NBA. So he's learning a lot as we go and understanding how these things work. So we keep him in the loop step by step about our conversations we have with agents and players and what we're going to offer them and what we get offered back and all those things. So he's learning. He's always trying to learn about things. He's really smart, but he's always still trying to learn more. And so keeping him in the loop on all that. But we had his full support the whole time, which was really cool. Even though he wants to know what's going on, he's backed us the whole way. And he in the end he leaves every decision up to us, which is really cool.
Adam, without getting into the specifics of the numbers, which you wouldn't do anyway, what were your non-negotiables coming into this particular negotiation in terms of what you had to have from the team perspective to make it successful for you?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know that we had any non-negotiables. It was just more, keeping in the parameters of, what we thought was the right value. And so, whatever that is, I think that was the biggest thing. And there's no non-negotiables about it. And the biggest thing was just trying to keep Terry here for the long haul and make him a part of what we're doing and what we're building. And we got a chance to do that.
And you mentioned before you thought Terry will be ready for week 1, but what's the concern level with regards specifically to lower body injuries for a guy that really has not had that ramp up yet and hasn't had that contact yet?
Yeah, so we hit that some last week, DA, and then 2 more days this week and then into next week. So we'll have a better sense for that really like after next Thursday. See, the workload will push higher than it is today, tomorrow, and then some more into next week. But he's in fantastic shape, but you're exactly right. That's definitely on our mind and on our thoughts with he and along with Noah and a couple other guys, just to make sure we're going to make all the right decisions, and we won't miss a step on that. But yeah, we'll have a better sense of that, I would say, by the end of next week, and then we'll put the plan together. But until then, we'll keep hitting the next steps.
I have a 2-part question, so I can squeeze 3 questions out of 2.
Of course you do.
The first
only
one.
Nikki, only for you.
Did it surprise you at all that negotiations dragged on as long as they did? And how do you handle it when things do seem to get personal for players?
Yeah, obviously we didn't want it to go this long, but it wasn't super surprising, understanding, that we had a little ways to go in terms of finding a middle ground. But, I think, it took how long it took, so as long as we got to where we got, we're happy. And then, you never want to take their personal feelings out of everything. And, luckily for us, we didn't have any ill personal feelings for Terry or Buddy or anybody in the whole negotiation. So that wasn't an issue. It was just, maybe just your feelings about, where you want to be at the end compared to where they want to be. But in terms of how all that went, I know there were some tough times, in terms of, maybe some things stalled a little bit, but in the end, you always just, understand, shoot, you see it all the time, everything he did for this team and everything he's done for this team and everything he did last year on the field, and then everything he's done in this community. You keep those things in perspective, and that's why we wanted to do this in the beginning. So I made it pretty easy.
And you guys didn't make any waiver claims today. How much do you expect the roster to change at all before week 1?
Yeah, it's always really fluid, and you never know what opportunities will come up in terms of players and whatnot. I can say that we're thrilled with the guys we have, and we are so pumped up with this team, and we feel on paper this team is stronger than we had it last year, and that means nothing until we start playing the games, but we have so much confidence in the guys in that locker room, and we're just getting started. I really super pumped with those guys, and really excited to see them on the field against the Giants. I think having everybody out on that field is going to be really, really cool and exciting.
Yeah, I agree. It was we love where we landed, but there were some really tough calls and hard, and that's what you want it to be, where it's competitive and where you can't sleep, and we're talking at night and talking in the morning. And so, as hard as that is, that's a great thing, because then it's not so cut and dry easy. And so, like I said, it doesn't mean there were some really tough calls.
Adam, as the Terry negotiations lingered, the outside noise kind of increased. There was a lot of frustrations, with the fan base outside. Curious, how much do you pay attention to that? Do you put your blinders on? Because obviously there's a lot of frustration all the way around from the team side, the agent side, the Terry side? I mean, how much do you kind of factor in that and pay attention to that?
Well, I think that's cool that we have such passionate fans, that really are just invested in what we're doing and what we're building, and understanding how important Terry is to our team and wanting to get here. So that's awesome, and once they stop being so invested in caring, then that's probably not a good thing. But you can't pay much attention to that in terms of you just got to focus on what you can control and try to get the deal done.
As we get closer to the season opener here, specifically, what do you like about this roster? Is there anything specifically that you're really intrigued about outside, JD5 or the quarterback or whatnot? Is there anything kind of layer-wise that you're really excited about, maybe that you didn't have last year at this time going into this year, new season?
Yeah, gosh, I could probably go through the whole roster and tell you something I like about every single guy on there and every single guy we have on the practice squad as well. But the depth, I think the depth is better, up front on both sides, and just bringing in some guys who are really complementary through free agency, through the draft, that really fit in what we're doing. So just the identity of the team overall, without having to single out anybody, just the overall identity and competitiveness that every player has on this team, and really kind of fits in what we're looking for as competitors. I don't know if you got anything there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
A lot of things. I would say it's good. It's I love that we've added some players like Von Miller. You don't just sign one. He's a multiplier by the way he connects to others in the room and standards, and that's no different than Wagner and Ertz and some others. But there's a lot of things, that we love about this team, like to have this many guys want to come back and be a part of the practice squad after Adam and I sitting in front of them on a tough day. That speaks to their regard for one another and knowing that they want to be a part of it. And so I thought what the players have built here together is pretty damn special. And so that doesn't happen that often, Scott. And so to see that many people want to come back and be a part of it, and like not even any hesitation, man, there's a real connection. And so when a team's connected, you got a chance to do some good things. So that's probably what I'm most excited to see. And you wouldn't know that until you have those hard conversations and see how the next day goes. And so I thought together these players have really created something special.
Probably for both of you guys. I know you guys were in touch with Terry along the way, but separating kind of the emotional and the business side of things, what was your reaction when you kind of heard him talking at Eastern Motors, kind of the preseason availability that he did? What was your reaction to hearing that?
I didn't really watch that, to be honest with you. But I mean, I heard that he was frustrated, and I wanted to, I heard that loud and clear just by the reaction and everything. So, it was like, okay, let's make sure we fix this and make sure we get this thing right. And it shows you how much he cared, how much he cared about this team, how much he cared about being here, and so I think in its own way, I'm sure that helped us get this thing across the finish line.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.